Is the most difficult decision you've ever given a family member? I told my dad that if my brother moved in, I would leave. I am the youngest of 4 boys between my divorced dad and mom. Out of my 3 brothers, I am close to one. Justin, who is the second oldest. I am in low contact with my oldest brother Jimmy, and I'm in no contact with Zane. The problem child. My dad was diagnosed with a lung condition my senior year of high school and has steadily been getting worse and worse as time went on. In my junior year of college, my dad got to the point where he needed a caregiver. I was the only one willing and able to take the role. Justin didn't have a steady job or vehicle, Jimmy wanted to charge our dad money and our dad couldn't afford it, and Zane refused to even help in any way. So I withdrew from college and moved to the town my dad lived in. I got a job to help ease the burden of the bills, took him to the doctors, and essentially did everything for our dad. Justin eventually moved in after 2 years to help ease the responsibilities I had, and I am forever grateful for that. The issue is Zane is asking our dad to move in and bring his common-law wife Pixie. Zane is an addict who is still using. The reason I have no contact with, and disowned him is because he is emotionally abusive to everyone around him. He and Pixie are physically abusive towards each other, fight nearly 24/7, and are always calling the cops on one another. He is openly homophobic and I am gay. He put me, our nephew, and our niece in a dangerous situation last year that could have resulted in us getting hurt. I also don't want him stealing from anyone in the house as he has a history of theft to feed his addiction. I know addiction is a disease. Jimmy was an addict for 90% of my life and is now clean and sober, and our dad was a drinker who stopped drinking when I moved in to help. I have nothing but respect for those who fight their addictions, but I have no sympathy for my brother. When I got home after work, my dad informed me that he invited Zane and Pixie to move in. I wasn't happy and told him that. He told me that he couldn't just let one of his sons be homeless. Then he reminded me that he could let anyone he wanted live here. The house is in dad's name, but I pay half the bills while Justin and dad pay 1/4 each. I've never used my paying a majority of bills against my dad, and I didn't this time. I simply informed him that if Zane and Pixie moved in, I would be moving out. He got angry and accused me of making him choose between his sons. I told him I would never ask him to do that, but I couldn't live with them, and just like how I couldn't tell him who he could invite to live here, he couldn't force me to live with someone I felt unsafe with and who has threatened me and stolen from me multiple times. Zane called me. He was furious, accusing me of using the fact that I was dad's caretaker as leverage against him moving in. I hung up when he started calling me slurs. It's gotten out to our very large family what's going on, and a majority are calling me a jerk for threatening to move out if my brother moves in. My dad and I argued some more this morning before work and I laid it all out for him. If he insists on Zane moving in, then I would call my best friend and he would help me move all my stuff to a storage unit. I let him know he had until I got off work to decide. I also dealt with the flying monkeys. Every time they called they would ask, how could you abandon your dad and how can you do this to your family? I would reply, oh, are you gonna come take care of him? Or I'll let Zane know you offered to let him live with you? They stopped. Jimmy is shockingly on my side, even though I thought he would side with Zane since they were always closer. I got home a little while ago and dad and I talked. He thinks he failed as a dad and wanted to try and help. We had a nice talk and he agrees that letting Zane move in would cause more harm for everyone. I made it clear that if I came home and saw Zane, I was gone and would go no contact. So it ended well enough, but I'm keeping my escape plans active for a while. I also bought extra locks for my room and Justin's room, just in case. Zane isn't happy and has been spam calling our mom because I blocked him and refused to even entertain the idea of unblocking him. I also want to say I love who Zane used to be, but I want nothing to do with him regardless of his sobriety or not. I hope he gets sober, but the damage has been done.